Well, number 85, not Tyler Eifert. There he is walking into practice. Trey Burton points out, someone tell my guy he doesn't need to put his gloves on probably for another 30 to 45 minutes. And then there's the aggressive handshake pulling him in. Not quite like we've seen others do it, but Tim Tebow. Trey Burton, by the way, available if anyone's looking for a tight end, a real tight end. A tight end who threw a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl, something Tim Tebow's never done and never will do. Philly special was thrown by Trey Burton to Nick Foles. So, but hey, once that spot's taken, no one else out there who may be more worthy of that spot has a chance to get it. Just saying. It's a zero-sum game, and spot number 90 on the roster goes to Tim Tebow. Charean, you haven't been on during the height of all of this. Sims and I have been chiming in on a daily basis about Mr. Tebow. Your reaction to Tebow back in the NFL 9 years after he last played in a regular season game?
I'm not bothered a bit by it, Mike. I get it. Like, I went on the Jaguars flagship radio station yesterday. They're hyped about this. I mean, this is a guy who grew up in Jacksonville, who went to the University of Florida, who won a national championship there, who won the Heisman Trophy there. I mean, this city is excited. They want to see what he can do at tight end. Now, the rest of us know the truth. He has no chance to make this roster. Do I think he's going to be on the practice squad? Yeah, because his coach is Urban Meyer. And that's the reason he's on this roster to begin with. I don't think he's going to make their roster. In fact, I would put his odds at 0% to make their roster. But I do think he'll end up on the practice squad. And I also think that it's a no-risk challenge for the Jaguars to convert this guy to tight end, a position he's never played. I don't think he can do it. I don't think he's Logan Thomas early in his career. And you look at how long it took Logan Thomas to become a really good tight end. And I think Logan Thomas is a really good tight end. I don't know if he has the body to become a tight end in the NFL to begin with. And it's been so long since he's played in the NFL. But I'm unbothered by this. And I get why they did it. They're probably going to sell quite a few jerseys. And if he does end up making the roster just because he's Tim Tebow, which, frankly, I just gave it 0% chance to happen, but I guess it could happen if Urban Meyer just wants Tim Tebow on his team somehow. But I think he's more likely to make the practice squad and be there and kind of be in a leadership role in the locker room, sort of. I don't know. Can you be in a leadership role as a practice squad player? Maybe not. But he knows what Urban Meyer's about. And Urban Meyer knows him quite well. I get why he's on their roster. I get why they're trying to do what they're trying to do. I think he has no chance to ever play a game in the NFL.
If we make these decisions about Tim Tebow based solely on merit, he's got no chance to make the regular season roster. But if we make these decisions about Tim Tebow based solely on merit, he wouldn't be on the roster right now. So that question of merit and worth and value and what he does or doesn't deserve, that's going to be ultimately determined by one person. It's going to be determined by Urban Meyer. And despite the growth, the spread, the embrace of analytics, at the end of the day, coach decides, especially in Jacksonville. Some cities, GM decides. Jacksonville, coach decides who's going to be there, who's not going to be there. My theory has been, Charean, he will be on the practice squad. He will be called up because 2 players each week can be called up from the practice squad. And I think after you do it the second time, you actually have to release them to get him back onto the roster. Well, it's not like there's anyone else
Nobody's
out there
picking him up.
That's going to pick him up, even after the trade deadline. He's not even a vested veteran. He'd go through waivers if he got cut after that first week. He's got 3 credited seasons. No one's going to claim him on waivers if he's dropped down from the active roster after week 1. They're going to find a way to get him in uniform. They're going to find a way to get him on the field. And here's my issue with it. Don't try to make us think it's something other than what it is. And I know they're not going to come out and say, this is just a sideshow. This is just a gimmick. This is a minor league baseball slow Wednesday night promotion. This is a way to get attention. This is a way to sell jerseys. This is a way to build interest. That's all it is. This isn't about football. Because if you say that, you undermine the stuff you're actually trying to do. So leave it to people like us to peel back the curtain for the Jaguars and explain exactly what it is. It's a business move. It's not about football. And that's their prerogative. But my point is, there's still millions of people out there who don't understand the nuances and look at it and think it is about football. And it's some great Disney movie, the seeds of which are being planted. And hell, Tebow's life's already a Disney movie. This would be the sequel. Tim comes out of retirement. It could be like Ernest. Ernest goes to camp. Ernest does this. Ernest plays for the Jaguars. Ernest plays baseball. Do you remember Ernest? Please tell me you remember Ernest. Please tell me they're not going to
remember Ernest. Who was Ernest?
You don't remember who Ernest is? Ernest is the guy who would... Jim Varney? Nothing? Vern?
No.
How you doing,
Nothing.
Vern? He'd get in the camera. He called the camera Vern. Oh, please, Charean, you make me sad. You're older than me. You should know. You should know who Ernest is.
By 3 months.
Right. Anyway, and I'm catching you soon. But anyway, my point is, we know what it is. We know what it is, and who knows? Maybe some of the people who are going to buy the Tebow jersey know deep down what it is. Just like people know wrestling's fake now and they're okay with it. But look at the difference. Look at the difference. And this is just an example. When they ended the draft and they signed undrafted free agents, guys who were good enough to be in the mix, but it's a 7-round draft. There's the 6 guys they signed. That's all we got. Name, rank, and serial number for those 6 guys. Then here comes guy number 90 on the roster, and he gets this multi-paragraph release that dusts off his accomplishments as a quarterback with the Denver Broncos when he threw a touchdown pass to Demaryius Thomas to beat the Steelers in a wild card playoff game. That shows you what this is. And that's okay. I'm not saying... The only thing that substantively bothers me is you are taking away someone else's chance. There is somebody else out there more deserving of the chance to be guy number 90 on the roster, like Trey Burton, for example. There are others out there more deserving who have more merit. If this truly is a meritocracy, this shouldn't be happening. There's a point, though, where merit takes a back seat to money. And that's why we are where we are, plain and simple.
Well, yeah, and you talked about it's not about football. I would argue that it's a little bit about football because Tim Tebow knows Urban Meyer as well as any player ever has and ever will. And
what's that have to do with getting him on the field and having the ball bounce off his head, though?
Well, I don't think it's getting him on the field, but I think in the locker room he can make a difference, Mike. And I don't know, maybe they don't listen to a practice squad player, but this is a guy who won a Heisman Trophy, right? And it is a guy who's done some great things in college and has been on TV. People know who Tim Tebow is. They may not know those guys on that list of free agents other than Moses from Alabama. Everybody knows he was the captain on that defense at Alabama, but they don't know a lot of those guys. They know Tim Tebow. Everybody knows Tim Tebow. That's why we're talking about Tim Tebow, because everybody knows Tim Tebow. So he can get across some of Urban Meyer's ideas, I think, in the locker room, perhaps, if guys are willing to listen to him. And maybe it's just a matter of working hard. I don't know. He did play some special teams for the Jets. Maybe he does get on the field as a special teams player. I hadn't even thought of him calling him up and doing special teams for the Jaguars this season. I just thought he's never going to play a game for the Jaguars, and I still find it hard to believe that he'll be on the field this year. I do think he'll be in the locker room. I don't know that he'll be on the field for him. It would be a bigger deal to me, Mike, him taking the 90th spot on the offseason roster. It would be a bigger deal to me if he's taking one of those spots on game day and maybe not contributing like he should be contributing as one of your game day players. Does that make sense?
Yeah, look, I see this going one of two ways. One way is it just clearly doesn't work, and he retires from football. He's not going to get the unceremonious bring your playbook to see the coach, you've been cut. He's gonna have the conversation, Urban's going to come to him and say, hey, Tim, I love you, and what an inspiration you've been. It's been great to have you here, but, I think you know where this is, and I think we know where this is, and we're going to give you a chance. I think the right thing for you to do is just go out with your head held high, and you proved everybody wrong. Just the mere fact that you were here is a major accomplishment, that kind of thing, and then he walks away. And the longer it goes without him walking away, the more likely he's going to find his way onto the team, even if it is practice squad, and then called up, and then dressed out on game day. And, you make a good point. Unless he somehow gets his way to the top of the tight end depth chart, he is going to be a 34-year-old special teamer for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And from his perspective, maybe he'd be happy doing that. But I really don't know what the impact of Tim Tebow in the locker room is going to be. Are they going to roll their eyes at him? What are they going to do? Or once they meet him, remember who was the guy? Was it Tom Brenneman? 5 minutes with Tim Tebow changes your life. Remember that comment? I mean, maybe he does truly have this magnetic personality. And to the extent that there are any cynics or hard-boiled long-term veterans in their mid-30s as old or older than Tim Tebow, and they kind of sneer at him, and then he's really nice to them, are they gonna change? Are they gonna yield? So I don't know. But I do know this, Charean. I know that you want to buy a Kellen Mond jersey to supplant your Roger Staubach jersey, and I support that. You also could buy a Tim Tebow jersey to supplant both of them, because it wasn't more than an hour or so after Tim Tebow officially joined the Jaguars that you could go to the Jaguars online shop, and there it was. As prominent as Trevor Lawrence, as prominent as Travis Etienne. Initially, it was 0. They did change it to 85. That 0 looks odd. But there he is. He's crowding out Trevor Lawrence. Are you kidding me? Shouldn't Trevor Lawrence be in the foreground of that? Are you kidding me? But Tebow, you can get the jersey, and even though 85 is the number that comes out now, if you look at the fine print, the jersey will be sent after his official number is selected. In other words, after they trade or cut Gardner Minshew and reassign 15 to Tim Tebow, that's when you'll get your jersey. And my understanding is the Jaguars don't want any part of that. Maybe. The Jaguars don't want any part of that. The Jaguars don't want to make this about go buy jerseys, go buy jerseys. This is fanatics exercising their prerogative. Anyone on the team, they can do this. They can hype this. They control it. Well, the Jaguars may not want it, but the Jaguars necessarily understand you pull the pin on this grenade, you're getting it. You're getting it. You can't control it. Yeah. You can say, please don't do it. They're still going to do it because Fanatics is there to maximize the revenue that they generate on behalf of the NFL. And if you're selling Jaguars jerseys, Tim Tebow right now is going to maximize that revenue. So, look, we'll see what happens. I don't have any animosity toward the Jaguars or to him. I feel bad for Trey Burton or whoever else should have that spot on the roster. And we know what they're doing. And I want to make sure that the casual observer out there understands what this is and what this isn't. This isn't a Disney movie. This is something that they want us to think could be a Disney movie. It's not. This guy has no business being on an NFL roster at this point. And the only reason he is, Charean, is because his college coach is in position to say, come join my roster.
Well, no question about that. If it wasn't for Urban Meyer, he wouldn't be there. We all know that. Let me ask you this, Mike. Do you think is there any way that he can help Trevor Lawrence? In that, I mean, he's been through a lot of the things that Trevor Lawrence is going to go through. I mean, becoming a pro and all the studying and everything you have to do to become an NFL quarterback. Now, we know he wasn't a successful NFL quarterback, but he went through all those things. Can he help Trevor Lawrence in that way, in any kind of way?
I could envision a situation where Trevor Lawrence is out throwing the ball and Tim Tebow comes out and he says, hey, let me throw the football, and he throws it and he says, see what I just did? Never do that. That would help Trevor Lawrence. Other than that, I don't think he's going to help. I really said, you forced me to say that. No, and hey, Tebow package. Apparently they're already talking about it. Tebow package. Philly special. Put him on the field. Let him throw a pass. We saw the over-unders for receiving yards and receiving touchdowns. We need over-unders for passing touchdowns.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.